Hey YouTube, it's your girl Alio. Welcome to my channel, Fan of Life ND. This pictorial will be about my first ever henna experience, and you'll get to see some pictures of what it was like, what happened, and just get a feel for henna if you've ever wanted to try it or not too familiar with it. So these are some pictures of what my hair looked like before I did the first henna treatment. And that lock is always sticking up all the time. I think it's going to take some time. Once it grows, it will kind of fall back a bit. Now, the product that I used was Caca Rouge, made by Lush. It was about $26 plus tax, and I'll just list the ingredients to the side according to the website. I used 1/3 of the entire block for the first treatment because I do have short hair, and also because I didn't want to waste it. So I just broke it down into 1/3. After I cut off what I needed, I transferred those blocks into a glass bowl. Then, according to the instructions, I added a bit of boiling hot water to that glass bowl containing the blocks and allowed the water to penetrate the blocks for a few minutes so that they'd be easier to break down into that muddy paste consistency that henna is known for. What I should have done first is I should have broken down the blocks into smaller chunks, because that would have sped up the whole entire process. Then I started using a plastic spoon and fork to break down the blocks because the consistency was still very watery and the blocks weren't really softening. So since that didn't really work, I ended up putting the glass bowl into a saucepan that had about 1/4 cup of water. Then I heated up the element so that when the water boiled in the saucepan, the steam produced would actually heat up the henna and help it to break down further. Another caveat I'd like to add is that plastic and heat do not work well together, because the heat can release dangerous toxins from the plastic, especially when you're using cheap plastic from fast food restaurants like I was using right here. I would have used a wooden spoon, but I didn't have one at the time. I also wouldn't have used metal because I read somewhere that the metal can actually change the color of the henna. And so I decided not to use that. But I did buy a wooden spoon to use all the future times that I've done henna. So this is what the finished product looks like, a really muddy paste. After that, I added a few drops of half a lemon because, according to Henna for Hair, they mentioned that by adding some lemon to it, it helps to further release the dye. And then, as I saw from Quotidian Light, I wrapped up the glass bowl with plastic wrap and just let the lemon infuse into the henna mixture overnight. So the next day, I prepared myself and my working space for the henna application. So here you'll see some of the things that I used. For example, I used gloves to prevent staining on my hands. I also used a plastic cap because that would help to hold the henna, because I wanted to walk around and do stuff. I didn't want the henna to be falling from my hair all over the house. But you can also use a plastic bag if you'd like. You don't have to particularly use a plastic cap. Also, it's important to put some kind of balm around your hairline to prevent the henna from staining that area of your skin. I just used petroleum jelly. In particular, I used Vaseline. As mentioned before, the globs of henna can fall out of your hair when you're applying it, when you're walking around, so it's really important to protect the floor space that you're working on. And I use newspapers as suggested, but another thing you can do is take a full-size garbage bag, rip it along the seam to double its size, and you can just spread that on the floor because that will be really easy to clean up as well. I also wore a tie-dye shirt, so don't laugh at me because I don't mind getting that stain, so that was my way of wearing protective clothing. I also divided my hair into 4 sections so that the application process would be easy. Now, I'd recommend to divide your hair into at least 6 sections because the more sections you have, the more precise your applications will be. I then applied the petroleum jelly barrier to my hairline. So this is what the henna looked like the next day. It lost some of its moisture, but it was still easy to apply after stirring it up a bit. And after applying it to my hair sections from the root to the tip and the back to the front, these are some views of what it looked like. It actually felt really nice to apply it. It felt like a nice, cool feeling. My hair felt really, really heavy. It felt really strong. And I don't think I made that much of a mess the first time I did it. What do you think? So I applied the plastic cap to my hair and let the henna just chill there for 4 hours. The instructions recommended 1 to 2 hours, but that didn't factor in the fact that my hair is kinky and locked, so I doubled the time to account for my hair texture. I would have left it in for longer than that, but it does take a while for my hair to air dry, and I was doing this in the morning. So after removing the plastic cap, the henna had dried and it hardened. So here are a few pictures of what it looked like. As you can see, I was so excited to see what the results would be after washing it out, but I was not impressed by how long it took to wash it out of my hair. It took over 1 hour, and there were still some mini particles left in my hair, especially in the roots and along the front of my hair. So those eventually, were washed out after a few shampoos over the next few weeks, but it did take a while. And look at those roots, so excited to be retwisted. From this picture, you can kind of see a slight red tint, yet the henna does develop over a few days. Actually, in this picture as well, you can see some henna residue that, it was really tough to wash it out, so I had to go back into the shower and wash my hair and focus on that area. Hey everyone, so since doing henna for the first time, which was in that pictorial, which was a few months ago, I've since done it 2 more times. So I've done it a total of 3 times using the same color, Caca Rouge from Lush. I have since decided that I'm not going to be doing henna for a while because I did do it for 2 purposes. 1 was to strengthen my hair, and 2 was to add a little bit more color to my hair. Now, I knew going in that the color was going to be a subtle look, and I haven't really noticed a big difference, so I don't feel the need to use the henna for changing the color of my hair because I do a herbal tea rinse every day, and I use hibiscus tea for that, which does give your hair a little red tint as well. In addition to that, I did use the henna because I was hoping to add some strength to my hair and give it some moisture because my hair does tend to be very dry. So I might start to use again in the winter months, and if I do, then I'll let you know, fill you in on that. Now, also, I'll provide you with 2 links in the description box below. The first one was a video by Quotidian Light. As I mentioned before, I watched her video before I decided to do henna. I did a few things differently from what she did, but it was basically the same process. In addition to that, I've also linked you to another YouTuber who, when I was looking around to kind of figure out what would henna look like on black hair that's not dyed at all, what would it look like? So her hair, she gives you the results of doing henna as well, and her hair isn't locked, but it still gives you an idea of what the results look like on a black hair on darker hair. So thank you for watching, and feel free to leave any comments below, and take care everyone. Bye.